Alright, Phoenix International Raceway. Tracks 23, that's sort of middle of the road for this season. If the track's 20 or less, you can be a little more aggressive. If the track's 28, do be careful. It seems as the temperature gets up here, you really do lose a lot more grip. So everything still holds true. You just have to brake maybe a little earlier, get on the gas a little easier. I just find it really gets slick as the temperature climbs here, so watch out for that. The setup's in the description below. We'll go through the corners in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. So here we go. So coming up to turn one here, there's no real turn-in marker. Basically, it just takes a little feel. It's easy to get. You just want to minimize the amount of steering input. Just try and keep it in a straight line as much as possible. So turning in around here, I guess around this Bosch sign, something like that. So especially on cold tires, you maybe have a full lift once the tires are hot. And if the track's cool, you can even do this. You can still be full throttle here. It'll take a lot of practice to get the car slowed down so you don't spin out. Basically, you want to hug this line. This is in 5th gear. You want to hug the inside line here, looking for this white line shifting down into 4th, and then sighting this blue cone up here, basically shifting down into 3rd about halfway between that white line and the blue cone, and then shifting down into 2nd gear about the blue cone, depending again on track temp and such. It is really easy to lose the back end here, so you just really have to watch the braking and the downshifting. If you touch the brake pedal too much, you're definitely going to lose your back end if you've got any steering input on. And if you downshift into 3rd or 2nd while you're carrying too much speed, the tires will kick out on you. So watch it. This is easy to lose the back end in this corner. In the race, watch out because there'll probably be a number of crashes here, spin outs, all that kind of stuff. So watch out for that. 2nd gear, so you want to come out sort of mid-track. You can come out a little wider, but also it is good to practice a defensive line here as well. I probably could have been out here a little bit wider, but basically looking for this cone and trying to pick up the throttle as early as possible. You can lose or gain a lot of time through this section. You can get right up onto this curb. You definitely don't want to get onto this black stuff. That is terrible stuff. And then working up through the gears as you're accelerating up into 3rd and up into 4th. And you want to get probably over this line here. You want to keep your left tire outside of the white line, otherwise you will get an X. I don't think there's a slowdown, but you will get an X for sure. And then just trying to minimize the steering inputs as much as possible, and then sighting for this corner up here. On cold tires, or if the track's really hot, this curb up here can upset the car a little bit, so on the first couple of laps you may want to avoid it, but once the tires are warm, I like to just keep that as tight as possible and just straight line it as much as you can, getting over to the blue curb here. In 4th gear, you can keep it in 3rd, especially on the first few laps. You may want to hold it in 3rd, and even through the race you may want to hold it in 3rd. It's more of a preference. I like to shift up into 4th and then basically just get off the throttle a bit, shifting down into 3rd once you get to this blue curb section here. Again, I like to take a little bit of that curb. On cold tires, you probably don't want to hit that curb. Again, it unsettles the car a bit, and you could spin out potentially. And then basically kind of looking for the end of this barrier, shifting down pretty quickly from uh, down into third, down into first gear. Pretty heavy on the brakes. Definitely want to be slow in on this one and fast out. Um, and releasing the brakes, slowly picking up the throttle. You don't want to just let go of the brakes. You can lose the back end through this section pretty easy, especially when the track is hot. So easing off the brakes and easing on the throttle at the same time, just trail braking through this section, keep that back end steady. And you don't really want to run it out wide here. You're just extending the track and costing yourself some more time. So holding it tight, working up the gears again, keeping it tight to this curb. Again, you don't really want to get on this curb, and certainly not on the black stuff. And then just unwinding the wheel, just trying to get the acceleration as good as possible. Working your way up into fourth, and then again just sighting for this little curb jutting out here. Again, cold tires, you can go over this curb. It's no big deal. You just want to graze it. You don't want to actually put your tire onto the black stuff. I probably took a little much there maybe. So this one, very important corner. Turn 1 and this one, probably the biggest important corners. If you've got a car in front of you, this is going to be really hard to sight. So practice some alternate braking markers. So basically you want to brake just before or when you reach the white line here. But again, with a car in front of you, that's going to be very hard to see. So you can time it from this little white line here, or you can also look to the barrier on the side here. Depending on your field of view, when you're alongside it, you're getting on the brakes, or if it's just in front of you, that's your braking point. So I'm braking just before the white line here. In real time, it looks kind of like I'm braking right at the start of it. But yeah, you find some alternate braking markers, because it is hard to see with a car in front of you, and if you're trying to overtake that car in front of you, it's really important that you do brake properly here as late as possible without smashing the car in front of you, but also not losing too much time to the car in front of you. So in fourth gear, shifting down into first, pretty hard on the brakes. Again, you want to try and open this up as much as possible. You can get a tire's width over this white line. I don't know where the slowdown is, but if you're a tire's width, you're okay. If you're more than a tire's width, you're going to be flirting with a slowdown, and it is very painful, because this is a huge straightaway coming up, and that slowdown is just going to kill you. So watch out for that. So yeah, shifting down into first, I'm turning in kind of where this juts out to the left a little bit. I probably turned in maybe a little early, but it's important to get the car slowed down and picking up the throttle as early as possible. I could have probably come in a little wider here and got on the throttle a little earlier, but it wasn't too bad. So picking up the throttle as early as possible, and then just working up the gears. Now coming into the section here, the Skip is not a high-powered car. If you're in a high-powered car, you may be up higher on the bank and then wanting to turn in more. But with the Skip, I find it's quicker just to hug the yellow line here. Going up high on the bank doesn't really gain you anything. In fact, it extends the track, and with the Skip not being the fastest car, you don't gain it back. So keeping a tighter line to this yellow line, I find, is the quickest way through. And then just as this dotted line kind of points towards the signs here. That's basically just follow that line and work your way over to the right hand side edge there to set yourself up for turn 1. So basically it's a quick lap here. Certainly it does not look very difficult, but to get the time down it is tricky. And again, watch that track temp when you get into a race, because I do find, once you get up to the higher end of that temperature, grip really does drop off. So that's a 105.9. A lot of time to be had there still, and definitely if the track's 20 degrees, there's a lot more grip to be had as well. So good luck out there. We'll run it at full speed, and we'll see you next time.